Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing eyebrows. We'll be focusing on how I do my eyebrows, how I get the shape, and all that good stuff, and what they look like before I put any of this stuff on them. So without further ado, thank you for joining me and let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, I really don't have anything special to my brows. They're actually really sparse, and they are actually kind of lighter than I prefer. I know people say that this is your natural hair color or whatnot, but for me, I personally like my eyebrows a little bit darker. For eyebrows, you really want to either keep them about the same color as your hair or just a smidge lighter. Don't go overboard with really light eyebrows. They're going to not frame your face. With super dark eyebrows, it's going to look completely just out of whack. So what you want to do is try to keep between that range. They aren't twins, obviously, but they're kind of close. I actually did some cleaning up on them and to get more of an arch so I could really show you. Now I do have some wild hairs that like to creep down here. I'm sure you've seen those in my videos or my close-up pictures or things like that, especially on this brow. No matter what I put in it, some hairs always like to creep down and kind of shadow out the actual arch of my brow. But I have a tendency to really like to have my arch defined. Doesn't always work, but it's just kind of how eyebrows are. So what I'd like to start out with is usually I'll go straight into my powders if I'm going for a super natural look, or even if I'm not going for a natural look, because I can always carve them out and make it a really sharp edge. But what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to start with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. And this is in the shade Ebony. Like I said, I like them a little darker. One way to make your eyebrows look a little thicker is if you underline your brows and make it more definition there. Don't blend it in as much, but really just give it a nice underline in certain areas, and that will really make them look thicker. Another tip that is kind of helped me to make my brows better and get more detail in them is using a handheld mirror of any type. This is just my Jeffree Star Cosmetics, one of my highlighters from them. And it's got a really large mirror here. It covers the whole thing. And I really like it. So it makes it easier to really see close up. I also have a mirror in front of me that is a 10 times mirror. If you really want to get close up, but you have to lean all the way in, and if I did that, you really couldn't see me. All you could see is the top of my head. So that really wouldn't work out all that well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off and I'm going to line. But what you do is if you start out here, it helps you to blend inward, okay? And remember, once you get here, you want to have lighter strokes. Regardless if you're defining this, you still want to have it lighter here than you do back here. Back here you want the most definition. And as you can see, I have really hardly any tail to my brows at all. So you always want to brush up when you're going underneath and brush down when you're going across the top. That way you can see more of an accurate, natural definition to your brows. So first I'm going to take this pencil and start. Okay, as you can see, when I paint it in, I'm using short little strokes. I'm not just going, that's just going to look weird, okay? Some people do that, and look, if that's your thing, I'm not going to knock it. Do your thing. Do you, by all means. But this way, you get more of a natural look, but still have that defined arch. as you can see, suddenly there's an arch there. In the front, I blend it ever so slightly up. In here, it's even less. I'm just kind of blending until it looks. Now, you will always have little screwy hairs that want to go random places, okay? Don't let that freak you out and don't let that upset you. It just is what it is with eyebrows. Okay. See how I have underlined this and then blended in the front some? That's just the way to make it look more natural, because you kind of want a gradient look. You want it darker than fade out. That's what gradient really is. Or gradient also means like blending into another color. You want to keep it like that because it's natural. But again, some people like the boxy look. I personally used to do that. I used to do a lot of things to my eyebrows. I look back at my eyebrows in high school and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I do? Why did I pluck them so much? But it was 1998, so it is what it is. But as you can see now, you can definitely see the arc of my brow. But up here, I'm very, very sparse, okay? So what I do now is I'm going to comb it downward and work with it from there. When I'm doing the underneath, you'll notice I hold this downwards and then I'll color in. It's because it helps me to see the line underneath better. It's always better to look down. Just like when you're doing some eyeshadows and you have hooded eyelids like me, if you look down, it gives you much more area to work with. And it actually makes your eyeshadows come out so much more beautiful. Okay, so that's just another little tip that has nothing to do with eyebrows, but I just wanted to throw it in there for you. So now I have already brushed this downwards. Remember what I said, brushing it downwards helps you to see what's going on the top. Now I'm tilting my head down, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the little edge right here. Again, tiny little strokes. We're not trying to build the whole thing up. We just want tiny little strokes to actually get the brow shape. And as you can see, I'm holding the pencil halfway down. The actual spoolie is resting on my hand. I take both ends off so that I can easily access the spoolie or the pencil. Makes drawing on your eyebrows a lot faster. Now this is going to take me longer because I'm doing this as a tutorial. Now in normal days, or if I'm rushing or whatnot, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to do it because I have 3 children, so I'm like throwing on whatever makeup I can put on. So like I said, here we go. The brow is brushed down. I have already started doing that, coloring in the corner. The thing is I like coloring in the corner of my eyebrow because I really lack a lot of hair there. So by coloring in that area first on what little hair I do have, I can kind of see a shape forming. As you can see on my brow, I can kind of see where like it's going to start going like that and like that, even though I have not even colored in those areas yet. It gives me a guideline. Again, short steps. There you go. And okay, currently and for the past, I don't know how many months now, I have been super obsessed with the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Kit. It has you can obviously see what I use out of it. I don't use the pomade at all. I use the light one every now and then, and the dark one is the one I use most. But it's really great. It came with little brushes and tweezers. I really didn't use them. But I actually have these 2 brushes that I really do use, and I love them. And one actually came with a Milani brow kit. I think that's how it was. I think it came with like 2 little brushes. And I love this. And then this one, I truthfully have no clue how I ended up with this. I don't think it was an expensive brush at all, but I love this. If I lose either of these brushes, I cannot function to do my eyebrows. But you always want to keep one that's kind of thin. Try using an angled liner brush. That would actually be preferable when it comes to your eyebrows, because that means you can get in there really easily and make them look more natural, or fill them in easier, get a sharp point here if that's what you want. It really just makes everything a lot easier to work with. But for me, these are like my holy grail two brushes, and I have a ton of brushes. It's because they actually are really, really thin. I don't even know if you can see how thin they are, but they could actually be used for like liner brushes and stuff like that because they are that thin. So what I'm actually going to do is open up my little kit here. I'm going to sit it in my lap, okay? Because, well, I'm using this as my actual mirror. Now don't get it twisted. They actually have this really cute little mirror embedded in here. Let's see if I can get it to pull out. Okay. Isn't that adorable? I mean, look at that. Come on, that's so cute. That is so cute. That is actually ingenious. I mean, I guess I could use it like that, but I really like, I mean, that would cover me up and you guys couldn't see exactly what I was doing. It really wouldn't work out for a tutorial. So anyways, I'm going to move back to my Jeffree Star compact here and dip into the darkest shade with my little brush, okay? And I'm going to start at the edge again. Remember, darkest to lightest. See how beautiful that is and how my brows keep trying to escape? That is just so beautiful. I love it. Do you see how it's coloring in so nicely? I love that. I'm dipping into the brow, dark brown again, and going with short strokes over here. Now here is where I'll start doing more sparse, not as thick strokes, and not as filling things in as much. I don't want the brow to look overly colored in. Right now I'm going for more of a natural look. Just the fact that I have an eyebrow though. See, it's coming along very nicely. Now here's where I start dipping into the lighter shade. The thing with the lighter shade is it actually adds dimension into your brow, because in reality your hair's not one color unless you take one color dye and put it all over your hair. My hair is still not one color because I have color in it. I actually chose to only do half of my hair in the pink, and then the rest is dark brown. Eventually I'll change it again and whatever. But your hair is just not naturally one color, not if you didn't dye it. So this adds in extra dimension by adding the extra color. And I'm not pressing hard. As you can see, the pencil is not bending. It's not a pencil, it's a brush, but you get what I'm saying. It's not even bending it. So you don't have to press really, really hard to get a really great outcome. Now as I get closer to the front, I'm really trying to follow those barely there hairs that I have to kind of fill in the sparseness, but I'm not actually going to be coloring it in as thick as I normally, do with the back side of the brow. And I'm also going to change the angle that I'm heading. Now I'm turning the brush and I'm going to come downward. As you can see, it has gotten lighter up here, and as we fade backwards, it's darker. You'll have to excuse me. My cat has decided to join us for our little tutorial. Come here. This is Cullen. He is one of my 2 cats. I actually am quite the animal lover, so I have a whole ton of animals along with children, and then I have a husband to take care of. It's a lot of fun, and it just keeps me busy. So there is my brow, and now I'm going to take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and I'm going to take the outside of it and actually the spoolie and comb through. Now remember, we're not going for overly abrasive brows. We're just kind of wanting us to look like we have brows. Remember, comb up. Once you're completely done, you want to comb upward. Now, as you can see, there's a huge difference in the brows. I mean, come on. Like, and you can see how, by putting this right here, you can see how this lifts my eye and makes me look more awake. As far as this, there's no shape to it. I mean, other than the barely there shape that you can see, but there's no shape to my eye. There's no framing of it. And this eyebrow makes my eye look more lifted. That's what eyebrows do. They frame your face, they lift your eyes, and you really need them to finish your look. A lot of people do not do their brows. Now, if you are blessed with the best brows, hey, I'm jealous, okay? There are some actresses where I'm just like, oh my goodness, I wish I could have their brows. But it doesn't. So thank you for inventing pencils and powders and pomades and mascaras that go on your brows so that I can have brows. So this is what part of the finished. So what I usually do is I either take my Benefit Gimme Brow, or I use the Essence, which is pretty much a dupe for the Gimme Brow. It's Make Me Brow. And this looks more like the old packaging that the Benefit one came in. So then I take this and I run it through my brow. Again, start at the back, because if you start globbing product on right at the front, you're going to be really sorry and you're going to be pretty ticked off. With a light hand, go through. This is the finished product with the brows. Sisters, not twins, but they do resemble each other. So, thank you guys for watching, and I really appreciate it. And if you like this, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the little notification bell so that you can be notified every time I make a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, much love.